Lindsey, welcome back to What's New in Digital.
Hi, thank you, Andrew. It's great to be back.
So this is your second time doing this, and we're prepping before we hit record, and you have some great things that you want to share with us of what you're noticing in digital on your accounts in specific. So let's dive right into issue number one.
Sounds good. So at NTM, we work on a lot of timed launches where someone comes to us and they have a particular product offering that's only open for enrollment for a limited amount of time. So we're really trying to get them leads into their pipeline to launch that particular offer. What we're seeing these days is the launch, make tons of quick money fast isn't working the way it used to. Our clients that are seeing the most growth in their business and the most success from their launches overall are really looking at a much longer term customer journey experience. So they're still using that same model of filling the pipeline, nurturing them through an experience, and then bringing them to their big ticket offer. But that tends to be over a much longer period of time, not 6 weeks before enrollment starts, maybe 6 months to even a year or longer. We had one launch that we worked on in January, and once we dove into the client's data afterwards, we really realized that people were on her list for up to 2 years before they bought her high ticket program.
Mhm.
So knowing your data and really being able to analyze it and assess what your customer lifetime journey looks like is really important to the success of launches as you move forward.
I didn't ask this before we hit record, so I want to save it for now. So why do you think there has been this shift in mentality?
Interesting. Well, I do think that especially since COVID, like just online courses have become increasingly popular.
Mhm.
And this concept of being able to take education and programming online isn't necessarily new anymore. So a lot of those sales tactics that maybe were used 5 or 10 years ago that were really urgency and timed based, people see through them now, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. So when they go to join, the incentives look different. It's not necessarily just that, like, this is your last chance to get in, because people know that that isn't the truth anymore. It's more based on the bonus offerings that come along with a product, or potentially even some price offerings that come along. That same launch that we launched in January, where we assessed the customer data, they were doing a price increase. So they had great success because they were telling people to get in before they raised the price up, and it was authentic. They truly were raising the price. It hadn't gone up in about 10 years. So that sort of authentic messaging tends to work a lot better now. Does that make sense?
It does. And what was going on in my mind was, and I think we try our best to set good expectations with people and say it's just not as easy to go snap your finger and Facebook pumps money, which maybe could have happened in 2017 or whatever. Do you think maybe it's just that clients needed to experience that pain on their own and not believe marketing talent of like, this isn't going to work like it used to? And they're like, just trust me, like I've seen this before, it is. And then they see it a few times, they're like, oh, I guess something has changed.
Yeah, definitely. And so like we always say there are multiple things that you need to look at in sense of like why something isn't working anymore. So there's been lots of talk about like economic recession right now. So sometimes
Mhm.
with our much higher ticket offers in the tens of thousands of dollar price points, people aren't buying as readily as they used to, right? There's a little more hesitation to buy. But then on the flip side, we are seeing that remarketing stats are a little bit down on Facebook with the privacy legislation, iOS 14. Our ability to retarget people has decreased in a sense. So
Mhm.
that can have an accompanying factor, like that can be an accompanying factor as to why sales stats may be down. So that ties into the whole like going back to the grassroots of marketing where like your emails still matter, and how do you nurture someone from the time that they join the list until you present your big offer in front of them
Mhm.
matters. So it's not just this instantaneous like quick win of you're going to get them in the funnel and they're going to buy your high ticket product the next day.
Mhm. I'll add in one last point. There's more comments on my end. That there's a podcast I think I've mentioned that I've been listening to recently called My First Million. And I 100% it's a like bro-y tech podcast, but I give them a lot of props with their community, and they'll put out three original podcasts per month. And they spontaneously decided to have an event in Vancouver last week, and I was listening to their like recap this morning, and they were saying they had at least 1,000, maybe even more people come. And it was just a spontaneous thing. They're like, hey, we're going to be in Vancouver, have an event. And they're saying people are driving in from like the Bay, Portland, Toronto, like everywhere from Vancouver, and they just flood the market with so much content. that they built so much trust and rapport with, 3 hours a week of original free content that is very high quality. So for brands, you are competing with just so much free, awesome, amazing content that's out there that you also need to be competing with that just value you're adding for free to people too, before you expect a $10,000 offer to be sold.
Yeah, this fall we were really seeing everyone saying, and we saw it too across our client accounts, but like live attendance rates were down. So people were just not getting people showing up for masterclasses, webinars, challenges the same way that they usually do. But we had one client who nailed it. Like their webinar attendance rate was like 45 to 50%. And I was mind blown because we were seeing like, maybe 20 from everybody else. But truly, he gives away so much free content before he hits you with that journey of like, hey, here's your next step. Do you want to take this to the next level? And you could really tell that difference just based on the success of like his live attendance. Like people just want to be there when he puts something out where he's going to be there live and center, like, and give you his time, right?
So let's go to tip number 2.
Omni-channel marketing is the next thing that we've really been focused on. So many of our clients, actually, like I would say the majority, I'm like trying to rack my brain around, do we have anyone that is an omni-channel right now?
We were like the Pied Piper for years before iOS 14, and then people started listening to us.
Yeah, definitely. So like a lot of our clients now are looking to like Google, search and display, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. So Facebook and Instagram has always been like the default that everybody goes to, but how can we use the other channels to really amplify what's happening on Facebook? So that particular client I was just referencing with the great webinar attendance rates, how we looked at omni-channel marketing for them was pulling in some people from Google search that are high intent. Like they're searching for the particular type of certification that this person is offering. We get them in, we get them as a lead, and then we remarket them on Facebook through a variety of lower ticket offers that are really quick wins, right? So in lots of times that helps the client recoup some of their ad spend because they're getting people to buy an offer that's anywhere from like $27 all the way up to $150 before they're putting those higher priced offers in front of them, which are anywhere from like $500 all the way up to maybe $10,000, right? So we definitely see great success in just increasing the amount of traffic to our client sites through using an omni-channel approach, but also building that rapport and that relationship because, YouTube, for example, we're able to put longer videos in front of people. So they're really able to get a feel for who you are as a service provider and what your messaging is and what you have to offer through a longer form video like that.
So your answer to this question might be, it depends, which is a very valid answer, but when is the right time to start doing omnipresent marketing? And I know, like I said, it could be revenue size, history of data, but like if you were to say like my best case scenario that you are such a prime candidate for omnipresent marketing, like what's going on in that company?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I do feel like there's so many variables that are dependent. With a lot of our clients that are having success, it's like, so yeah, one key thing on Facebook could be that you're noticing either your cost per lead is going up drastically or your frequency is going up drastically, and just like stats aren't like the sales aren't happening like they used to on Facebook. If you are noticing a decline in any of your website traffic, so perhaps in the past you had more of like an organic marketing strategy that was working really well for you, or you did the podcast circuit or that kind of stuff. If any other of your like organic marketing activities have declined, moving to another channel that potentially has lower cost per impressions, which would mean lower cost per clicks potentially, is a good way for you to get some more traffic over to your site that is a cost effective too, right? And then the other thing would really be depending on what your niche is. So as I mentioned, what are the common pain points? Like if we have clients who help people resolve anxiety or like depression or like reduce pain, that kind of stuff. That kind of pain point is something that people often search on Google for, right? So if we have offers that are relevant to popular search terms on Google's, then sometimes it's just like very straight transition of like, okay, like this is a very quick win. Let's transition you over to Google and let's drive some really highly relevant intent traffic back to your website.
Awesome. So tip number 3.
So when we go omni-channel though, something that definitely happens is sort of the overflow overlap of data attribution, where a lot of
Yes.
clients come back to us and they say, okay, well, I'm running Google, I'm running YouTube, I'm running Facebook, I'm running Instagram, but really which one made the sale? So it's definitely a challenge for us to sometimes get people out of that mindset of like, that I guess rolling it up into that concept that truthfully, every aspect of that omni-channel strategy had a part in making the sale. Maybe they first found you on Google, but then we showed them some video ads on YouTube that helped them build that relationship with you, and then finally remarketed them on Facebook with an ad for an offer. Then every single platform technically was part of a touch point.
So can I play devil's advocate real
Yeah.
quick? So I'm thinking of a client who hears all that and then they're going, okay, well, I want to increase ad spend. So where do I increase my ad spend if I don't know where the attribution was coming from? How would you answer that? And I don't put you on the spot like Shark Tank,
Oh,
but I
that's a
love.
great question. So when it comes to if we're just doing retargeting on Facebook, we typically don't need a huge ad spend at all. So if Facebook was primarily running retargeting, you can scale that to a certain point, but you're not going to have like a huge jump there that's needed unless you scale the amount of traffic hitting a website. So either which way, it doesn't matter which platform you're on, you first want to look at scaling your source of traffic. So that would be whatever your top of funnel campaigns are, no matter what channel they're on. Yeah.
Perfect. Continue on. I just was
So
curious even myself.
we were talking about issues with data attribution. So truthfully, what this comes down to is we see a lot of clients where they've sort of either outgrown their existing tech infrastructure or they never set it up properly. So it's sort of been hacked together. They maybe don't have tagging conventions in their email marketing software, in their CRM software, or they don't have the right product tags being attached to clients when they do purchase. And so being able to do some of those activities that we referenced, like going back and checking like what is the lifetime of a customer on your list before they buy a high ticket product, really comes down to how your data is segmented and set up. So making sure that the infrastructure systems that you're on, so whether that is like your payment processor that's sending the data back to a CRM, making sure that all of that is talking to each other, but then also making sure that the data has the proper tags and segments happening, so that we can get in there and really assess what we can pull out and extrapolate from that data to help us paint that picture of where the growth is happening in your business and where we need to focus next. A good example would be we had a client where they had sent some promotional emails out just through like their newsletter tag. And so we weren't able to easily export that data. Like it wasn't attached to a particular automation or sequence. So it was really hard to go in and be like, okay, but this applied to the launch to and this. So lots of times it ends up costing you more money if your tech infrastructure isn't set up properly, because you do a lot of manual labor to pull the data that you need versus going in and just getting it set up once and done, have a template and a system in place for what you're going to do moving forward. There's a little bit of cost to that, but it really pays off in the end, versus having someone to have to manually go in and extrapolate everything. Go ahead.
I was going to say the bonus content on video.
Yeah.
If you want to share high level what's going on.
Definitely. So like still using selfie videos, video is still hands down the front runner these days when it comes to top of funnel traffic more than anything. Like we still do see success from some more animated graphics, a little bit less video when it comes to retargeting, but definitely video is killing it when it comes to top of funnel. We've also been seeing improved performance lately from more animated videos. So like we always just used to tell people just get a camera and sit there and like record a selfie. But like with the increasing popularity of TikTok, like even having some sort of text overlay, animated GIF or anything like on that video just helps it to stand out amongst everything else on the platform. So yeah, we had some launches the beginning of Q1, and definitely the ones that had like animated text overlay, embedded captions, maybe voice over some B-roll, so the video sort of had some transitions happening, and then also like a really clear, strong call to action at the end. Those ones are working really well right now.
That's what I've shared with people in regards to TikTok. If they're a marketer, as an individual, you don't have to do TikTok per se. But what you need to understand is that TikTok has completely changed so many areas of digital. in videos, short-based content, all these things. And so even if it's not literally TikTok stays, which it seems like it's here to stay and it's not going away, like the lessons I've learned from TikTok is going to spiral into what Facebook and Instagram do to change their algorithms. And there's going to be the next TikTok that takes all those lessons and then comes back out to the marketplace.
And it really sort of dials into like the overall essence of everything we've been talking about, which is like a shorter video requires a more dialed in message, which then means like your business has to really be clear on like what value proposition you offer to a potential audience, right?
And I remember a few days ago, I saw someone do a Facebook Live, and my immediate thought was, this is so boring. Like, I need a 1-minute TikTok video on this. I don't want to sit here for 45 minutes.
Yeah. And like, don't start it ever with like, hi, my name is Lindsey, right? Like that is just going to lose someone instantly. I've been seeing some of those lately and just cringing over it. So I don't want to know who you are. I want to know what you have to offer. So.
Perfect, Lindsey. Love the tips.
Thanks.